Thank you all. All right, stay tuned, everybody, for Public Works. I will turn it over to Commissioner Ziegman-Felt, the chair.
Thank you, Mr. President. So much less eventful, but we'll do what we can tonight to keep the momentum going. So welcome to the Public Works meeting for November 5th, and we have a number of things on the agenda. One is the receipt of monthly reports and citizen committee meeting minutes, and I'll do these things in tandem. So 1A is the October 2025 Highway Department report. There's an attachment. 1B is the September 2025 Refuse and Recycling Department report. I'll ask if there's any questions or comments from members of the board. I see none, so I'll move for the acceptance of the minutes of the October Highway Department and September Refuse and Recycling Department minutes. All those in favor say aye. Aye, thank you. Item C and D, October 2025 Parks Maintenance Department report. There's an attachment. And D, October 2025 Street and Traffic Light Superintendent report. Again, I'll ask for any questions, comments, or additions to those two items, both the Parks Maintenance and the Street and Traffic Light Superintendent report. Do I see any questions or comments? I see none, so I'll move for acceptance. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Items E and F, the October 2025 Fleet Superintendent Report. There is an attachment, as well as item F, the October 2025 Stormwater Coordinator Report. There is an attachment. I'll ask if there are any questions, comments, or additions to those minutes. I see no hands, even you, Commissioner Rappaport, are restrained tonight. So I will move for approval of these two as well. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And then we'll go to the two citizen committee reports, Shade Tree Advisory Commission, which met on October 9th, 2025, and the Environmental Advisory Council, which met on October 20th. There are attachments. Are there questions or comments to either of these commission reports? I'm looking, I see none, so I'll move for acceptance of the two commission reports. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Item 2 is old business. I see nothing listed, so to the board or staff, are there any items to be considered for old business for the November 2025 Public Works report? Commissioner Rappaport, welcome. New
Thanks.
old business.
Yeah, I know it didn't get onto the agenda, but we did receive an interim report from the Deer Management group, and I wanted to give them a shout out and a thank you for the work that they're doing for public safety. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on that report? None. Are there any other items for old business for the November Public Works? I see none. So I will move to close public old business for Public Works. We'll go to item 3, new business. And there are a number of items here that need serious consideration. Consider recommending the Board of Commissioners adopt a resolution granting conditional approval and associated waivers for a final land development application, CTDA 25-14F, Cedarbrook Middle School, 300 Longfellow Road, Wyncote, PA, for the proposed construction of 2 buildings for a total of 18,972 square feet with parking improvements, an addition of 11 parking spaces, stormwater, and other site improvements. There is an ability to click for attachments on that. So I'll ask if there are any questions, comments, or input from either the board members or from staff to help to clarify this. I see none, so I will move for approval of the resolution granting conditional approval and associated waivers for the Cedarbrook Middle School proposed construction. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None, so that's unanimous. We'll go to new business item B. Consider recommending the Board of Commissioners adopt a resolution granting conditional approval and associated waivers for a preliminary final lot consolidation application, CTDA number 25-11. Arcadia University, 450 South Euston Road, Glenside, PA, for the proposed consolidation of 3 lots into 1 lot located at 2053, 2059, and 2063 West Church Road, Glenside, PA. There is an attachment as well on the township website. Are there any questions or comments either from members of the board or from staff? I see none, so therefore, Mr. President Board, I'll consider voting to adopt the resolution granting the conditional approval and associated waivers for the consolidation for those lots for Arcadia University as suggested. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Item C, we're moving forward. I can't believe Public Works is going so quickly. Consider recommending the Board of Commissioners adopt a resolution granting conditional approval and associated waivers for preliminary final lot consolidation application, CTDA number 25-12, Arcadia University, 450 Southeastern Road, Glenside, PA, for the proposed consolidation of two lots into one. Those lots located at 782 Limekiln Pike and 2005 West Church Road, Glenside, PA. There again are attachments and information on the township website. Are there any questions, comments from either board or from staff? Again, I see none. Must have been a tough day at the elections yesterday. Mr. President, I will move for the adoption of this resolution for Arcadia University for the consolidation of those two lots as well. All those in favor?
Aye.
I don't want to always be the first one. Item 3D. Consider recommending the Board of Commissioners adopt a resolution granting conditional approval and associated waivers for a Phase 2 preliminary / final land development application CTDA 25-15 Enclave at Melrose, 7600 Tookenny Creek Parkway, Cheltenham, PA, which will consist of a 3-story assisted and independent living facility that is 88,000 square feet, 4-story, 247,750 square foot medical office building, and a 2-story parking structure adjacent to the medical office building. Again, there is extensive information and attachments on township website. And I'd like to take a second before we open it up to either board or staff. You know, this is for the Enclave at Melrose Phase 2. It represents a significant development in terms of its multiple uses, medical, professional, and residential, with some amenities, both commercial and public, for its future users, employers, and residents. There has been and will continue to be public vetting and discussion, along with input from the applicant, their advisors, township staff, and our consultants, along with involvement of commercial, governmental, and regulatory bodies who must weigh in and resolve the challenges associated with a project of this importance and magnitude. Mr. Diazio, before we get into this, could you just please frame what the Stage 2 preliminary conditional approval covers, and again, some of the things that it won't cover for today?
Sure, I'm happy to, Commissioner Ziegenfeld. Good evening, everyone. As Commissioner Ziegenfeld noted, this proposed redevelopment of the former Melrose Country Club site is a significant and massive development. And so for that reason, it is being approved in phases. So previously, this board has seen the preliminary and final approval of Phase 1 of the project. Today, you're seeing Phase 2 of the project, which I'll describe in a moment what that is. In the future, you will see the final phase, Phase 3 of the project. And then at the beginning, when Phase 1 was approved, you also approved via a separate approval resolution the overall site design at a preliminary level. You've not provided final approval of that site plan. And when I mention the site plan, I'm talking about things like sidewalks, like roads, like sewer, like curbing, trees, all of those things, stormwater facilities, all of those things are part of the site plan that has not been before this board for final approval, but likely will be before the board in early 2026. So what you're looking at this evening is just the Phase 2 of the project, which is the MOB and the ALIL. And for those folks that are just hearing about this project for the first time, MOB stands for Medical Office Building, and ALIL stands for Assisted Living / Independent Living Facility. So you're looking at those two, that section of the project is what's before you for consideration this evening. I know there's been a lot of talk about sewer issues, and there have been some things in the news about sewer, right? So sewer's on everyone's mind. I get that. The sewer design for this project and the sewer tanks that are going to be used, all of that will be back before the board with a presentation. I don't want to commit to a timeline, but as I understand from the developer, it is likely going to be in the late first quarter of next year. So I'm thinking maybe March or April. The public and the board should expect to see a presentation on that aspect of the development. I do believe that counsel for the applicant, Mr. Lewis, is here this evening. We could probably wait to see what questions there are, Mr. Lewis, and we can go from there. But Commissioner Ziegmanfeld, does that provide the overview you were looking for?
I think it does because it attempts to limit the areas of discussion to the phase two, which is an important thing, and recognize that we're not glossing over any element of this. We have continued and will continue to take both the input and the concerns very seriously. So I guess what I would next do at this point is open to any questions of significance regarding phase two to members of the board. And I see Commissioner Rappaport, that hand pops up, so please proceed.
Okay, thank you. I had a couple of questions. I think Mr. Diazio answered one of them, but I'll confirm that in a minute. The primary question came out of the county review, and they mentioned, I guess, that the zoning approval was also contingent, or part of the height, I guess, of the medical office building was contingent on the accessibility of the train station, which, so we're supposedly, the development is building the steps, but that doesn't mean that it's actually accessible to our side of the tracks. So what happens if SEPTA, because of its funding problems or priorities, doesn't choose to open it up once we get those steps built?
Mr. Lewis, is that something you can entertain?
Sure, and I think I'll have Anthony chime in as well, but first, just introduction, if I can. Good evening, Rob Lewis from Kaplan Stewart, stepping in for my partner, Amy Farrell, representing the applicant this evening. So my understanding of the status, there are two pieces, Commissioner Rappaport. One, the Montgomery County Planning Commission report or review letter does specifically state that the ordinance provision requires that the entirety of the building be located within 1,500 feet of the SEPTA rail station, and as such qualifies for the height. But the Montgomery County Planning Commission review letter then goes on to say, it talks about the intent of that is obviously to provide accessibility to the train station. That's exactly what we want to do with this project. We are providing what is commonly referred to as the kiss and ride, and the ability to connect. We simply can't force SEPTA to build the necessary improvements on their own property that have been in the works. And because of the current challenges with SEPTA, we're not sure when that's going to happen. We have certainly done everything from our site standpoint to provide that connection. We will continue to work with SEPTA to try and facilitate that. I think Anthony Caponigro from Kimley, our engineer, is also on. So Anthony, if you have any additional color, I'd appreciate it.
Sure, thanks, Rob. So correct. I mean, essentially what the plan represents is that drop off kiss and ride area at the southern portion of the site. And we do have the ability, both from a plan standpoint and from obviously discussions throughout the project with SEPTA, that if they did not move forward with their redevelopment of the platform, we do have an opportunity there to make a connection into their existing ramp system that's located near the drop off. So if their proposed redevelopment plans not proceed forward for that area, we do have the ability from the southern portion of the site to access their ramp if it comes to tying into their existing infrastructure that's there today. And we've already had discussions with them about the ability to do that and obtaining the necessary access agreement to do that as their plan progresses with ours.
So one way or another, they're not just going to be let out at a sort of a dead end and have to still make their way around. One way or another, you're going to get your access from our side to the trains, essentially.
That's correct. And
Okay. That's reassuring. Thank you.
yeah, and I can show if it helps to see the picture. I just requested share ability, and so on the southern portion is at this. Yeah, so here is that drop off area. This is the existing concrete ramp system at the rail, and you can see it's only a few feet of grade change that we can ramp and make our way into that rail access at this point. And then they have the sidewalk and walkability from the south to get all the way through the development and into the north, if so be.
Thanks, Anthony.
All right, thank you very much. And then I think just to clarify the other things that were outstanding, there were things mentioned in the various commentaries about fences and trees and buffers. I think you're saying that can wait until next year.
And Commissioner Rappaport as well, it should be noted that I do believe that the chain link fencing is being replaced. It will not be chain link fencing.
Correct. Yeah. That'll be more of an estate fencing. Correct.
Yeah, it'll be an estate fence. So that's worth noting. And there are certainly some comments with respect to adding landscaping. We have every intention of doing so in some of those spaces, not for ordinance requirement purposes, but we're working with the operators of those facilities to make sure that the landscaping and the other amenities fit their needs. When you're dealing with ALIL, we have to make sure that the operator, is comfortable with, what's going in there from an amenity and a landscaping point of view. So, but we will continue to flesh that out.
Thanks very much.
Other questions or comments from members of the board on the phase 2 issues? I'm looking before I move on. Any input from staff at this point? I see none. I don't want to deny public input. However, I think what we want to do is if there's going to be a modest amount of public input on this, it should be confined to the phase 2 elements that are under consideration and not go beyond that for tonight's discussion and for the preliminary conditional approval. So I will allow any informed members of the public who want to make a comment, the 3 minutes that we provide, to make sure that there's no sense that we are moving things along at a rate and without consideration for providing some opportunity for discussion. Do we see any comments from anybody in the audience? Okay, so I see Tom Peterson's hand is raised. So Mr. Peterson, you have 3 minutes. And again, I'll ask you to confine the discussion to elements of the phase 2 portion that's under discussion for this evening.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you, Commissioner Ziegmanfeld. My name is Tom Peterson, and I'm in the Roland Park area on Landfair Road. I really just had a question about this because I think that you are asking for waivers to some regulation, and I wonder if you might explain what waivers are being asked for in this phase 2 project.
I'll jump in. This is Rob Lewis. The only waiver that is requested with respect to phase 2 is a waiver to allow the preliminary final consideration. All other ordinance requirements are being satisfied.
Okay, thanks. And actually, one more question. Where do you stand with the permitting for this project for stormwater permitting through the Pennsylvania DEP?
Sure, Tom, thanks. And we just received our a technical review just late today from DEP on our MPDS permit. So we're hoping to respond and react to those comments quickly over the next 30 to 45 days and hopefully be in position to receive their NPDS permitting by the end of the year, if not shortly thereafter.
Would the DEP comments be made available to the public to take a look at as well?
I believe they may. I can certainly share those with I know the township staff and folks will all receive that certainly. So
Perhaps with that, Mr. Caponegro, that you could also include your response to the issues that maybe are being raised by DEP. So it's not just the one-sided DEP, temporary thing, but also what in fact is your solution to the questions or issues that they may raise. So you may not need to do that immediately, but we want to make sure that both of those pieces are incorporated in what's being disclosed because it fills and completes a picture.
absolutely, yeah, we'll do a full
Mr.
response.
Peterson, is there anything else at this point?
Yeah, actually, I just had one other question. My understanding is that the best management practices for stormwater management are under review, and perhaps there's been a draft of more recent best management practices from the DEP. And I'm wondering whether your facility will be complying with only the existing BMPs or whether you will be taking into consideration the draft update. And I believe they have not been updated in maybe 8 or 10 years. So I'm wondering if you're going to be complying
Sure.
with the updated ones.
I am aware of the draft update that's I think hopefully going to be issued next year, because there are some positives to that to help with better management of stormwater after all the lessons learned over the last decade. But as it is now, the BMPs on our plan, which are generally consisting of small scale infiltration basins to manage smaller scale drainage areas. We're not doing one large basin for the entire drainage area. So we're doing smaller drainage areas captured by smaller BMPs to help with, stormwater management in Sirius through the development, and that is in line with really the more of the intent of the draft BMP manual, but is also the goals of the current manual are also addressed with that same type of design technique.
Thank you
Okay.
for that. Thank you, Mr. Peterson. I appreciate it.
Thank
Are
you.
there any other comments from members of the viewing public? I can't see everything. Allison, is there anything else?
Doesn't look like it.
I don't think so. no.
Okay, so I will move that, again, we're dealing with the following. Recommend to the Board of Commissioners adopt a resolution granting conditional approval and associated waivers for a Phase 2 preliminary / final land development application for the Enclave at Melrose, which will consist of the 3-story assisted and independent living facility, the 4-story medical office building, and 2-story parking structure adjacent to the medical office building. So just in consideration of these Phase 2, I'll ask for the members of the board to vote approving the resolution. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? I see none, so that moves forward. Thank you for both the feedback, Mr. Lewis and Mr. Caponegro, and for your questions, Mr. Peterson. It is appreciated.
Thank you
We'll go
very
to
much.
item E. You're welcome. Consider recommending the Board of Commissioners authorize Gannett Fleming to proceed with engineering services related to the Euston Road Stormwater Improvement Project in amount not to exceed $75,450 pending approval through the granting agency. And perhaps Ms. Brinker, occasionally as I call on you, if you'd just like to clarify that one, because I think, this is very much in your purview.
Yeah, no problem. So the proposal before you is for the Euston Road stormwater improvements. Earlier this year, Ms. Kirshner received a grant from the county for funding from Hurricane Ida. And she submitted an application, and actually she got more money than she asked for, so that's always great. So with that funding, we asked Gannett Fleming to submit a proposal so that they can start the stormwater design for that area.
Is there an estimated beyond, design? Is there an estimated cost for the engineering and the implementation of that?
Yeah, so it's $75,450 to proceed with the design services. And the grant amount that we received was close to 300,000.
Wow. So do we expect that once we begin to do the improvements, that there's going to be increased fees that are going to be required to be able to do that implementation?
Increased engineering fees? Is
No,
that?
no,
Oh,
increases in terms of actually doing the construction.
oh,
I'm sorry I was too vague on that one.
no, you're fine, you're fine. Yeah, until we get the design, we won't know the exact amount for the construction cost. But as you know, we constantly, look for funding, so we will continue as Gannett Fleming works through the design and has a better idea of what is going to be proposed as far as storm sewers or gutters or, when we nail down that number, we'll ensure that we have the funding to cover it.
So does the township have any right to tap into the 224,550 that is in excess of the engineering services? Is that money that can be set aside for construction and other elements?
Yes, so the
I don't know if
funds,
that is, but I think that'd be great if we've gotten an excess and can start to use money as well as seek other funding for the construction that will be in excess of that amount.
Jump in. If I can
Allison,
jump
go
in
ahead.
real
I'm
quick.
sorry.
Yeah, I think the grant funding amount, actually, this is one of the few occasions where we actually received more funding than we had asked for. So it looks like, and we hope, unless things change, which, with time, sometimes the prices do change, that the grant could fund the entire construction project as well as the engineering services. So that is our goal. It just kind of depends on what happens when they get in there through the design process, but hopefully it will be at very low
Well,
cost to the township.
I guess we owe kudos to that dynamic duo of Samantha Brinker and Kim Kirchner. So there you go. Thank you. And keep us apprised of that. That's really an awesome opportunity and it demonstrates that sometimes when you ask, you actually receive from these sources. So that's awesome. Any additional questions or comments? I see Commissioner Rappaport.
Thanks again. Sorry. When I was reading the write-up, I just needed clarification because some of this, I think some of the infrastructure you described as being on Cheltenham Avenue, under Cheltenham Avenue. And I'm wondering, first of all, to what extent any of this is a mutual problem between Philadelphia, the Philadelphia portion, that infrastructure, and ours. So if you could first address that, and then I had some follow-up.
Yeah, so I think the big problem for this is it's stormwater that rolls off the alley. On there's I think it's like four to six homes that face Cheltenham Avenue, but they kind of back up to this alley that comes down and makes a right turn onto Euston. So the water just rolls down that hill and the homes are sitting below even the alleyway. So what the goal is to capture that water before it hits the homes and then pipe it out to Euston Road and connect into the existing infrastructure on Cheltenham Avenue. So I don't think it's really a Cheltenham Avenue issue. It's more that we're connecting into existing infrastructure there.
Okay.
So did I get that right?
Okay, thank you. And then I guess one of my questions, because I'm under the impression that there was, maybe it wasn't the same thing, but the Meeting House Road to Township Line project seemed to involve some of the same stuff. And I was wondering about the availability or if TTF would be a likely partner also in some of this.
I think so. TTF was involved with the Meeting House Road project in as much as they were doing work on the parking lot, the private
Right.
parking lot. So they
Right,
partnered
okay.
with the synagogue there. And we were doing the work within the townships right away. And this is actually a project that's more, doesn't really have any green infrastructure. It's basically purely a piping project at this point. I don't know if there's much of an opportunity for green infrastructure on this project, unfortunately.
Well, if we can do some green infrastructure, that might help the project. So I'll just throw that out and say thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from members of the board? I see none, so I'll move for recommending that the board authorize Gannett Fleming to proceed with those engineering services for the Euston Road Stormwater Improvement Project in the amount not to exceed, well, I guess it's not to exceed 300,000 at this point, but the 75,450 pending approval. And I'll ask all those in favor to say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? No. Okay. Move to item F, which is an addition. Consider recommending the Board of Commissioners adopt a resolution authorizing staff to submit a grant under the 2025 PICO Green Region Open Space Program for the Renninger Park Tree Restoration and Education Project in the amount of $10,000 and committing to funding the remaining costs of the project. Questions, comments from the members of the board, the staff on that one?
Yeah, I can comment on that. That was so in early May, we did the Renninger Park stream restoration and wetland project. And unfortunately, some large trees had to come down. And at that time, we said we would look for funding for additional trees. So this is our, our focus for this grant application is to get native trees in that area. Also with this grant is educational signage to emphasize the benefits of the wetland area that was created for the project and possibly some park amenity upgrades for benches will be also proposed in this application. But Mr. Dominic and Mr. Coyle are working alongside to, get the locations of the trees and the different types that are going to be proposed.
Bo, I suspect that the calipers of those mature trees is pretty sizable. So is that $10,000 adequate to do, the replacement along with the educational pieces? Just as a matter of question, and given what we've learned in recent months about the cost of replacing mature trees.
We feel it's adequate. We're going to do everything we can to stretch that dollar as far as possible if we're granted this money.
Not surprised at that
Good answer.
response. Thanks, Bo. Okay. Commissioner Arman, nice to have a different voice tonight.
Thank you, Mr.
I guess
Chairman.
you got your voice back.
That's right. I had to refresh, got a drink of water. So Ms. Brinker, Mr. Coyle, perhaps as part of this project, let's, keeping our fingers crossed that we get the money. This might be a great opportunity to engage our stack in, tree selection and as part of the process. So to the extent I'm sure you were already planning that, but to the extent you weren't, it might be a good opportunity to engage the members of the stack in this process. I think they have a lot of expertise and can bring that to assist the township in ensuring that we're getting the right trees in the right locations as a result of this grant.
Yeah, absolutely. For the grant application, we don't have to name specific trees, but if we are awarded the grant, we will definitely reach out to them.
Great, thank you.
Good question. Commissioner Rappaport, did I see you have another one? Oh, okay. One of the people in your background was raising his hand too, so I thought I should acknowledge that.
They're kind of asleep.
Any other questions or comments for members of the board on this one or staff? Okay, so I will move for the adoption of the resolution authorizing staff to submit that grant under the PICO Green Region Open Space Program for Renninger Park. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Do we have any other items for, what is this? This is new business.
Yes.
For the November Public Works?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, Dan, I didn't see your hand. There you go. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm not sure whether this is sort of old business and new business, but commenting on yesterday's election day, it was a long day. I'm proud to report that Cheltenham residents exercised their democratic voting rights with enthusiasm yesterday. As a result, first and foremost, I want to congratulate the re-election of Commissioner Lewis, and in addition to that, the election of two new commissioners who will be coming on board January 1st. That's Emily Stein and Emily Sheremy Walls. So a big congratulations, and we look forward to working with the two new commissioners and continuing to work with Commissioner Lewis. And then just an additional recognition, Melvin Pitts will be the new finance officer starting January 1st. And also congratulations to the school board members who were re-elected or elected. There's one new member who was elected. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When we do finance, Commissioner Norris, I'm going to try and hijack your portion of the meeting too.
You're welcome to do that. That's going to be tough.
Commissioner Arman, did I see your hand raised for a brief second?
No, you just on my laughter.
Sorry. So I believe there's no other items. So I will close new business and now open citizens forum for the November Public Works meeting. Are there any people who have hands raised? I can't see. Allison, anybody?
No.
Well, this could be a record of efficiency for Public Works. So I believe that this is the time to move for adjournment of Public Works. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Let's move.